The mist hung heavy over the Tithwal Ridge that morning in June 1948, veiling the drama unfolding beneath it. Two platoons of Alpha Company, 1 Madras, were holding the ring contour, a position that, if lost, could open the gates for the enemy to recapture the recently liberated town of Tithwal. Across the treacherous Kishanganga River, the enemy had entrenched themselves on Junir 444, Chunj Top, casting a constant barrage of sniper fire and mortar shells onto Indian positions. On 11 June, the storm came. Under a shroud of fog and the boom of mortars, 300 enemy soldiers surged toward the ring contour. Captain K. Venugopal, a young but battle-hardened officer, stood tall amidst the chaos. 3 times the enemy charged, 3 times they were thrown back. Wounded cries mingled with the crack of rifles. When a section's Bren gunner was hit, Venugopal picked up the weapon himself, spraying lead until his men could pull the injured to safety. After 3 hours of relentless combat, the attack was broken. Jemadar Rama Rao led a patrol that counted 22 enemy dead, but the price was steep. 8 of his own had fallen and 10 were wounded. Yet the Indian flag flew proud. A month later, on Order 8 of July, the skies wept shells. For 3 days, 400 mortar rounds rained down daily. At Ora 4:45 hours, the enemy surged again, this time with nearly 2 battalions. Subadar Muhammad Ibrahim's platoon stood in their path. He was hit twice, but refused to leave. He rallied his men and launched counterattacks that sent the enemy reeling. His bloodied uniform became the symbol of that desperate, heroic stand. Reinforcements from point 7229 couldn't reach them, pinned down by enemy fire. And yet, Bravo Company held fast, machine guns blazing from the ridgeline, covering the fallback of the battered defenders of Ring Contour to a position called False Crest. But retreat was not surrender. It was strategy. A counterattack was planned for later that day. Delta Company moved across the river with heavy weapons, ready to strike. An airstrike was scheduled for 14:30 hours, but the skies offered no mercy. The planes came late, too late. By 1630, under the command of the Brigade HQ, the Indian troops began to withdraw across the Kishanganga. The suspension bridge, lifeline and noose had to be destroyed. Bravo Company held the line, Delta Company covered the fallback, and point 7229 fell silent at dawn. Green flares from the enemy marked their hollow victory. But the fight wasn't over. 8 Indian platoons still lingered on the wrong side of the river. The enemy, sensing weakness, advanced toward the False Crest. Artillery pounded the Indian positions, and the bridge was under constant fire. At noon, a lone fighter aircraft screamed overhead and strafed the advancing columns. Under its cover, the final withdrawal was ordered. The retreat was surgical. Even the signal cables were rolled up. Indian losses, 13 dead, 38 wounded. Enemy losses, estimated at a staggering 460. When the final platoon crossed the bridge, 4 brave sappers stepped forward to destroy it. A mortar exploded beside them. 4 lives gone. The charges failed to detonate. They tried again. This time the bridge went up in a blaze. Back on safer ground, Indian troops exhaled for the first time in days. 2 platoons from the Garhwal Rifles tried to finish the job, destroying wooden bridges downstream, but came under heavy fire and had to pull back. Finally, at 1700 hours, another airstrike offered a precious opening. Explosives laid, detonators set, a final thunderclap. The bridge fell, and with it, the path of invasion was shattered. This was not a story of victory or defeat. It was a story of grit, of how outnumbered soldiers, bloodied and battered, held the line against impossible odds. A story that lives on in the soil of Tithwal, whispered by the wind over the Kishanganga.